Coming to you live from Clearwater, Florida. It's Speaking It Real. Here's your hosts, Frank Cuesta and Carlos Contreras.
Well. Look who decided to show up after months of being gone. I hope everybody's doing well today. Been gone for a while, man. Like a long while. Just life gets in the way of these shows. And when you kind of think you have it all together with the show, it just falls apart. Kind of how life does too, right? You know, when you think you have it all there and it's not. It's like, man, what the hell do you do? How do you pick up, right? This show pretty much is just random conversation, random thoughts. Haven't been around in a while. Um, I don't know when will be the next show I do. Just kind of, I jumped on Ovi's platform. I kind of just started getting a feel for this again. It's been a while, like a long while. But what do you do? What do you do in life when it comes crashing down, man? You know, do you fall with it? Do you learn and grow? Do you stay in the same spot? You know, I mean, what do you do? You know, it's life. Life goes around in many different directions. And like I said, when you think you have it all, you don't. When you think, when you think life is going good, it doesn't. You know, and you start getting these mental thoughts, mental health, and you get stuck in a spot where you feel that you're good and you're comfortable when in reality you're not, and you're trying to grip everything together when it falls apart, you know, and what do you do? Do you just sit there and keep going forward like nothing happened? Do you sit there and you start working on yourself? You know, I I've seen a lot of things, you know, and I'm saying the word a lot, and that's one of those things you shouldn't be doing on a regular basis when you're doing these shows because it looks like you don't know what the hell you're doing. But then again, I haven't done a show in months. But going back to what I'm saying, it's your thoughts, that run through your mind are tough, are hard. And if you don't deal with them correctly, it eats you alive. And you become somebody you're probably not, so you got to really work on that and do things. I said I've been gone a while and a lot has happened. You'll notice I'm by myself doing my show, so a lot has happened. Um, Again, what do you do with life? How do you circle around life? How do you bring about your everyday demons and try to confront them and not have them beat you down? Because you know what, that really happens a lot to people. We all fight our demons. And I'll tell you something that I learned very recently. You got to talk to people. You got to talk to the right people. It's not always just talking to some people, and you really don't get anything out of it. When you're at your lowest point, you got to pick yourself up. You have to understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You don't see it, but it's gonna get there. And eventually you're gonna flourish and you're gonna shine. That's one thing that I have learned, or I have been told. I haven't learned that one yet. Life, like I said, goes in many different circles. And when you think you have it, you really don't. Trust me, I know that. I thought I had my life nice and bundled and figured out. No, I don't. It's not figured out. I don't think life is figured out for anybody. I mean, look, I'll give you yesterday on the show, on the HHW wrestling show, we start talking about finishing the story. And that was the takeaway. We started talking about it, and when you bring it into everyday life, do you really finish a story in your life? Like Ovi said that when you finish your story is the day you die. You know, so the beginning of your story is when you're born, and everything that goes on through life is a chapter. One chapter after another. Your school years were different chapters because you went from pre-K or kinder all the way to 12th. Is that just one chapter, or would that be different chapters? Because you're going through different things in your life and you're evolving into a person that you might be, that you might not be, and it's all about, the way I see it is, these chapters that you have in your life. You There comes a point where you have to close the chapter. You can't leave that chapter open. And I think a lot of people kind of don't finish a chapter and they start a new chapter without having that chapter done in your life. And that poses a problem because you have to close your chapters and learn from them. You heal from those chapters. You heal from things in your life and you go on to the next chapter. And whatever it is you're learning, you got to take everything, you got to take stuff from these chapters and you got to learn and you got to adapt, which I know that I don't do that. I I didn't do that. It took me a hard hit in the face to figure that out, you know. And these chapters, when you close them correctly and you heal from these chapters, you learn to move on in your life and you go forward in your life. And you might be a happy person, might be a grumpy person, depends on on these chapters and how they end. I have I have a bunch of chapters, some I learned from, some I didn't learn from, some I didn't finish the chapter or I didn't heal from it, and I just kept going with my life. And comes a point where you get a crash and burn, and that's when this right here doesn't function correctly, where you think you're doing everything right and you're not, until you hit right smack in the face with it. And when you're hit in the face with it, you kind of start realizing things of what you should be doing or what you should have been doing and that you haven't been doing. But sometimes when you wake up with that, it's too late. You might have just missed out on the best thing that's in your life, and finish your chapters. close your chapters, open a new one, and you keep going forward. And that chapter, you do the same thing. And look, something I haven't been against it, but I've never embraced it, is going to talk to somebody. Just because you go see a therapist doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that you need a little bit of help understanding, where life is going, who you are, why you're like that. Life is hard, life isn't easy. But I could tell you this, by speaking to somebody, you learn who you are, you know, to a professional. Because speaking to your friends sometimes don't, as good as they are, sometimes you don't get the correct advice from your buddies, you know. And then when you just hit that rock bottom, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? What happens? What do I do? You have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go do what you have to do. Go seek your help. Go talk to that person. They're going to help you get to where you're at. I would tell you this, and I think I'm going to start doing my shows a little more. And when I'm ready to talk about my journey that I'm going to take with everybody, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to go with it and embrace it. Embrace the change, whatever it's going to be, whether it's for the best or for the better. Because when you've hit that low point in your life, and trust me, I hit it. And when I'm ready to talk about it, I'll talk about it. And you feel like you've lost everything in your life, you got to reflect and understand, try to understand where it came from. Try to understand how you could be better. Someone once always told me, be better. I didn't understand it completely. You know, I thought I did, but I didn't. You know, when you think you're doing everything right and you're being told that you're doing everything wrong, you got to listen to that person because they're telling you things that are true. But you have to be very open to accept it. You know, don't ignore it because you will hit rock bottom. But it's 12:40 in the morning. What am I doing on a podcast, right? I uh, I felt the need to just get on today. You know, I know I have a viewer. Don't know who it is, but it's all right. You know, if you want to, you want to chat along, you can. But life is rough. Life is rough. Every day you gotta wake up and go forward and keep on going nonstop. Because again, there's gonna be that light at the end of the tunnel. We don't know what it is. Like I said, you know. Look, I've had my car dreads, you know, numerous of times. They guide you somewhat. But if you don't do what you have to do for yourself, Doesn't matter what they tell you because you create your outcome. Nobody is going to create it for you. Nobody. It doesn't really matter. And like I said, I hit the floor. I'm going up, and I'm going to document my journeys. Maybe I'll document it on the shows, but look out because I'm coming back. My shows are coming back. Maybe not next week, maybe the following. But Speaking at Rio is coming back. Speaking at Rio is done being in hiding. Speaking at Rio is gonna come back, and it's gonna take a twist and turn. Right? Why? Because Speaking at Rio, when I started this with Carlos, and I gave him all the props in the world. Thank you, Carlos, for starting this show with me. You did a lot more for me than what you really know, my friend. And the show's geared more towards politics. You know, maybe I'll start talking politics again later on. When the elections is closer, bring Carlos back on. But what we are gonna do, we're gonna dive deep into life. What is life? How do you manage situations? What is it you have to do to better yourself? How are you going to better yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you hate yourself? What do you what n- what not to do when you hate yourself? What to do when you hate yourself? Because that's very important. Because somewhere in life you have to love yourself, but not everybody does love themselves. Some people just hate themselves, and they don't realize it until they hit a certain wall in their life, you know? And when you hit that wall is when you start realizing what life is, and you have to, you have to love yourself, you know? When you're down and out, the last thing you need to do, is just start drinking away because you know what? It doesn't do anything. That solves your problem maybe for a little while, but you know what? After the drunkenness wears off, after the high wears off, guess what? You're still back to your issues. Your issues don't go nowhere. You know, I I heard this saying not that long ago, and the saying is I was trying to drink my sorrows away. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was trying to drown my sorrows, but guess what? My sorrows swim. You know, but hopefully, next time I get more people, you know, you could comment, in the comments below, and fix yourself. That's the mode for today. Fix yourself for yourself, not for anybody else. Align yourself with people that will help you. Align yourself with people that will guide you. Align yourself with people that will pick you up when you fall, you know, and it's okay because you could fall. You could fall 100 times, but you know what? You need to get up 101 times. You can't stay down there because when you stay down there, it leads you nowhere. It leads you nowhere. And that's not where you want to be. You want to be somewhere. So every time you pick yourself up, you know what? Dust yourself off. Go look in the mirror and say who you are. Say what you like about yourself. Don't worry about the negative part of it. You know, love yourself, care for yourself, take care of yourself. You know, pick yourself up, like I said, and do all that. You know, it could happen. You never know what's going to come out of life, but never give up. You got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. I know for sure that in my life, I got to push. I got to push hard because there's demons in there, a lot. But I'm going to start going through a journey, like I said. I don't know where this journey is going to take me. Might take me far, might not, you know, but it's going to take me somewhere where you better yourself, because I'm not in a good place at all. But for my one listener out there on my live show, thank you for listening. Hopefully, I've been able to give you some advice. Hopefully, it all works out. Sometimes separating yourself from a situation helps. Sometimes it doesn't. But this is Speaking It Real. And we're going to start to speak it real on life. Watch. I'm going to try to get some guests, relationship guests, mental health guests, spiritual advisors, palm readers, whatever we want to get. And we're going to start having conversations on how life goes and what you could do. So, I will tell you this. Have happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This will be my last show for this year. I think in total this year, maybe I did 13 shows. A lot less than what I did the past couple years. But that's just due to life and how everything's gone down. I'm not going to promise that they're going to be weekly shows, but we are going to come back next year. 2024 is going to be the year to bring Speaking It Real back up and build yourself. Build yourself to who you have to be and who you want to be. That's my final thought for today. So again, thank you for listening. I'm Frank, and I'm speaking it real. I lost my mouse. So let's try it again. So I'm Frank, and I'm speaking it real. Bye.